What's up, guys? Welcome back to episode 8 of Batman Caped Crusader. This one is by far the best episode in the series. I'm not wasting no time. I want to get straight into it. Let's go. So this episode begins at an orphanage, introducing us to this series' Dick Grayson and Jason Todd together. Already. That within itself, the first 30 seconds of the episode had me so engaged. I did not expect to see Dick Grayson this early on. I thought that he would be a character we would see in season 2 maybe. Certainly didn't expect to see him in this episode. And then with Jason Todd as well. Like, come on now. Jason is a character we never even got to see on screen in the DCAU. But here he's a little kid and kind of acts as a baby brother to Dick. It's also here where we're introduced to Natalia Knight, a young girl with demonic vampire-like abilities, and I liked this adaptation of the character. She's not only a tragic figure, but she's also a victim of circumstance and exploitation. Her powers, which are a thing of wonder, become sort of a destructive force when harnessed by her brother Anton. And the death of Anton serves as a catalyst for her descent into darkness. In this episode, she was kidnapping other children at a carnival hosted by Harvey Dent and feeding on their energy, which makes her stronger. This was very dark and just eerie. It's almost an uncomfortable feeling. I felt really sorry for each kid she led away to feed on. So far, I'd have to say this is my favorite episode. I said that when I saw episode 5, I said that one was the darkest one, but this one, I'd say this is it. This is my favorite episode. Great story, great characters, just everything about it. This was definitely more of a horror story in tone, as Natalia is racing to kill as many people as she can, and Batman is racing to stop her as fast as he can. But we also had a number of cameos in this episode that added to the enjoyment of it. Number one, at the very beginning, at the carnival, we see Bruce Wayne with Julie Madison. Julie Madison was a character back in the 1940s who was actually Bruce Wayne's fiance. She didn't know that he was Batman. I don't think she ever even found out. But it was cool to see that this show referenced her. Lois Lane made a second appearance in the series with this episode, and she actually spoke this time, which further leads me to believe that a Batman-Superman crossover is something we might see in the future. Because they keep showing Lois. I don't know what Lois Lane is doing in Gotham so much, like she ain't got her own hero in Metropolis, but yeah, they keep showing Lois Lane in this. We saw Waylon Jones, aka Killer Croc, who was a part of the circus at first in the comics before he went bad. We saw not one, not two, not even three, but 4 different iterations of Robin in one episode. Dick Grayson, who's obviously the most iconic Robin. Jason Todd, who's my personal favorite, the Robin who died and then later came back as Red Hood. Carrie Kelley from Frank Miller's 1986's The Dark Knight Returns storyline. And y'all, Carrie was bad-assness. Carrie was the only kid in this whole episode that wasn't for the bullshit. Carrie was cool. We also saw Stephanie Brown from Detective Comics number 790. 4 different versions of Robin in one episode, along with Dr. Leslie Tompkins, who was Bruce Wayne's therapist in the comics. Not to mention, Alfred, in a scene, was reading a book that mentioned the Gray Ghost in its title. The Gray Ghost was a character in the original 1990s animated series voiced by Adam West, who played as Batman back in the 1960s. Like, this episode was literally like a freaking love letter to Batman fans. Every time I got excited about seeing one character, they had like 6 more show up. And Batman's role in this was pivotal. He acts as both protector and adversary, confronting Natalia with the consequences of her actions while offering a glimmer of hope at the same time. In the end, saving her from her own self-destruction, I think highlights his compassion and humanity as a character. It reminded me of a well-known episode of Justice League Unlimited. I think everybody knows about this episode, where Batman was with Ace, who is a villain, and she was dying. And she was scared to die. And he sat next to her and sat with her until her time came. He could have easily taken her out. He made other people believe that he was going to take her out. But this episode really just showed the humanity in him. He just sat with her and held hands with her until she died. This reminds me of that. This episode was incredibly dark, incredibly eerie, but Batman's humanity is something that's not often seen. I liked it. This episode also foreshadows a darker turn for Harvey Dent. In the end, the acid attack, which is iconic, to his face sets the stage for the transformation of Two-Face. And I can't wait to see this show's iteration of Two-Face, because the way this show takes characters who are well known and puts their spin on it, for the most part, it's pretty good. You know, going into this, I said that I wanted to see a much darker, more serious tone. They could do more of today, so my expectations were more. I expected more out of them. And honestly, they fucking delivered. They really did. I knew they had it in them to make gruesome, scary, action-packed, noir Batman detective stories like this. Nocturne is a masterpiece in character development and storytelling. It explores the themes of corrupted power and redemption with depth. By far my favorite episode. By far my favorite episode. I would hold this episode as number one. The best episode in this entire series. Probably one of the best episodes that I've seen out of all Batman animated series that we've gotten for the last 33 years. That's how good this was. This was something that was just different. This was everything that I had said I wanted to see in the very beginning when I watched episode 1. This is exactly what I was talking about. Now, when it comes to Robin though, having 4 Robins in this was really cool. That was badass. But it begs the question. It brings up some confusion about Dick Grayson. Is Dick Grayson not gonna be Robin? Because you have Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Carrie Kelley, and Stephanie Brown all within the same show. Will Batman not have a Robin in this series? Because if he does, you would think it would be Dick Grayson, but I just don't understand how they would do that. I mean, unless they would start with Tim Drake, unless they would introduce Tim Drake as the first Robin in this series, because he's the only one that wasn't in this episode. And Tim Drake is just as iconic as Dick Grayson and Jason Todd. Way more iconic than Stephanie Brown or Carrie Kelley. I would have loved to see the origin of Dick Grayson in this. I don't know, it's just interesting. I wonder what they're gonna do, if they're even gonna have Batman with a sidekick in this series, because they may not even have that. I don't know. But it just got me thinking, like, how are they gonna, if they have Robin in this, which one is it gonna be? But guys, what do you think? I think this was the best episode in the entire series. I want to know what you guys think down below. Who's your favorite Robin? You know, what'd you think of Natalia Knight? Thoughts, opinions, comments, questions, concerns? Let me know down below. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up. Thank you guys so much for watching. I cannot wait to talk about episode 9 and 10. I'm really looking forward to it. Two-Face is next, and I'm betting it's gonna be a 2-part finale. I'm just guessing because it's Two-Face. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.